What did I just do? Did I not save it? Ah, shit. Okay. Oh, shit. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning.
Were you
Am I-
waiting long? I always forget to check the waiting room.
No, I only about a minute. I'm the first one in.
You are. You get brownie points. You get the gold star for today.
Okay, made my day.
Yeah. Now, what club are you from?
Eugene Airport.
Oh, okay. The Roses Club.
Yes, if that's who belongs to it. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys are amazing with how many scholarships you give away.
Yeah.
I'm blown away. I got a copy of your 8-page glossy flyer, for a better word.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it showed on the back all the recipients in 2019 anyway. And geez,
Right.
there must have been 40 of them.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing. It's our flagship thing. Yeah.
Good morning, Janet.
Hi, how are you?
Wonderful. How are you?
Excellent.
Good.
Today's a big day. Have this meeting, then we have our weekly meeting, and then I have a DAC-DB meeting.
Oh, that's right. There is a DAC-DB meeting.
It's a big day.
You're going to be zooming all over the place.
I am.
Now, what club are you from? Because I know, but I forgot.
Florence.
Okay, that's right. So what's the weather like over there? Is it nice? Because it's foggy here.
It's crystal clear, but it's cold.
Yes, it is.
Like it's in the upper 30s right now.
Brr.
Yeah, real cold. Let me see if it's 35.
That's pretty cold.
Pretty cold.
Yeah, it's probably at least, it might even be a few degrees cooler here in Cottage Grove.
Yeah.
It was 28 here in Eugene when I got up. So,
Woo!
yeah.
Yeah, the cats went outside and they came back in and their tails are all bristly. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm
Thomas, Jean.
subbing in for Patty Scott today.
Oh, good job.
And it's cold here too. It's 30.
Where are you?
Coos Bay.
Okay, but it's pretty over there. We have fog in the valley.
Yeah, it's a beautiful morning. Excuse me.
Let's see, I better admit some more people here. Admit everybody. Looks like Laura is here. Thanks so much, Laura, for coming.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's a privilege to be invited and to be asked to talk to Rotary members from very far away.
Well, it's so funny. I was thinking of now, who could I call?
Well, I hope
At
you
a-
find what we have to say today a little interesting. Membership is always an issue, isn't it?
Yeah, but I thought, who would be able to speak from the perspective of having long-term members? Oh, maybe the oldest club.
Yep. Yep, we have some people who have not been, nobody in our club's been around since 1905.
No.
But we do have somebody, and I should have asked our president who it is, who will frequently put Paul Harris at the bottom. Sorry, I have a dog who's a little feisty right now, but he'll put Paul Harris at the bottom and then black out the screen. So we make a lot of jokes about that.
Oh, that's
Paul
so
Harris
funny.
is still alive and well in our club.
Now you have how many, 200 members in your club?
I think we're at about 175. So yeah.
Wow.
Our goal keeps being 200. Every year our goal is 200, but we haven't been that high, I think, since the early 2000s, if I remember correctly. Like there was a point in time when our club was 900.
Oh my goodness.
But now Chicago now has 9 clubs in the city. And so as more and more clubs have gone, we've lost members. So I think the 900 was back when we were the only one for the city of Chicago, or one of 2.
Right.
And,
Well, originally you were the only one
we
for
were
the whole world.
not for long though.
No.
Spread that word like wildfire.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to give it another couple minutes and then we'll get started because I know your time is very limited today. I did make you
Yes.
co-host. If you want to share anything, you can do that.
No, I'm better at talking. I'm not very
Oh,
good.
well, I already noticed that part and that's always easy. I am too.
Yeah, I just find I get so wrapped up in the slides that then I stop talking sometimes.
It looks like we have a past district governor here, Rick Olson. We have a future district governor here, Jerry Kosanovic. Jeez, I almost threw an extra syllable in there.
I'm
And a
impressed by
future-
your turnout. This is really great.
It varies. In fact, next year, if we continue these, which we probably will, I've got to ask if people want to change the timing. It looks like Julie Aubrey's here from Rotary International. Hi, Julie.
Hi.
She's presented a couple of times and decided to join us today to hear from Laura. This is going to be fun.
Thanks for letting me crash. It's my
Oh.
lunch hour and I figured I wanted to hear what you guys were discussing. So I always love this.
You wanted to make sure we weren't talking about you.
No, no, I actually shared this forum as an example of what districts are doing right the other day because
Oh,
I,
good.
Oh, wow.
yeah, I really
Cool,
appreciate
you guys. We rock. Let's see, I got another admission here. I got to keep my eyes on the waiting room, otherwise I leave people in there. Okay, any news from anybody? I hear it's beautiful and sunny on the coast, but cold. It's foggy and dreary and cold in the valley. How about Bend? Who's in Bend? Okay, what's the weather like? Oh, Cindy's here, our current district governor.
Hey, hi. It's cloudy and cold.
Okay. Boy, the coast has got all the crystal clear weather. What's it like in Chicago, you two, Laura?
It was a bit of a blizzard yesterday, so at least the snow is melting pretty quickly, but like it was bad enough where the snow blowers were out. And then last night it was pretty icy out there, so I was very glad to see at least this morning it was melting quickly.
Gosh, do you work from home in those kinds of situations? You must.
I do. I work from home. I mean, I have my own law firm now, so now I'm working from home full time. But before that, I was home since March 16th, 2020 was my last day in court and in an office.
So your two dogs are your greeting committee or your co-workers?
Yes. Yes, I have a chief of security. He's a Doberman, which means, you know, I know the trash guy is outside right now because he ran away barking like crazy. How dare those people empty our trash cans? And then I also have a pit bull, and she's just my business manager, keeps us all in line. She's really the one who runs the show.
I've got a pit bull too, and that was another thing that attracted me to you, Laura. I saw your picture of your dogs on your website, and I thought she must be a cool person.
Yeah, people keep saying I need pictures of myself. I'm like, but they're the best part about me.
Yeah, dogs sell. It's like kids and dogs, right? Okay, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and start the meeting. We are talking today about retention of long-term members, how to keep them engaged. Particular effort during this Zoom era. But let me tell you a little bit about Laura Inns. I was thinking, who could I get to facilitate a membership forum on retaining long-term members? And I thought, well, maybe somebody from Rotary One, which is the Chicago Rotary, which is the original Rotary, started in 1905. They must have a few long-term members there, right? Laura tells me they don't have any from 1905 though, so they couldn't retain everybody. But she is a family law attorney with her own firm that she started in 2020. Before that, she worked in other law firms and was supported in 2017 by one employer that encouraged her to join Rotary. But she started out as a photojournalist, and just like so many of us, you start out in one direction in your career and you go, no, I like this one aspect of that career, but I don't like this other stuff. And she moved into law. Her Rotary passion is connection to others, which makes her another wonderfully qualified person to come and talk to us today. And her favorite Rotary event was attending the Rotary International Conference in 2019. That was in Hamburg, correct?
Yes.
So 20 plus members from Rotary One went to the conference together. Wouldn't that be a blast? She's the Rotary membership chair for Rotary One, and she's also the secretary of the board of directors. Now, let me tell you about her dogs, because that's really the good stuff here. Bailey is her pocket pitty, which is her firstborn dog. And then she also has Sarge, the Doberman, which she calls her COVID dog. You know, everybody started adopting pets during COVID, so there you go. With that, Laura, I'm going to turn it over to you just as long as we can have you, and I know you're a busy lady.
Yeah, thank you all so much for having me. And the only reason why I'm only here for a bit today is because my own club is meeting right now. And we have Arnie Duncan, the former Secretary of Education. So I'm always interested in education. But it's a pleasure to be here to talk about membership. I did not realize the first job anybody ever asked me to do for the club was to chair the membership committee. And I was like, oh, sure, whatever. That sounds fine. I did not know it would be like such a big role. And every single former president wants to tell me what to do. Everybody wants to be involved. And I had no idea the pressure that would be on for membership. But you know, I'm happy. I'm going to give you some thoughts on what we've learned about long-term membership and some things we're doing now, just because I know, you know, in the world of ideas, it always helps. So as you all know, our club is the first in the world. And so with that comes some degree of notoriety, and we get all kinds of members. We get transfers from other places, like some people retire and, you know, then they can finally make time for Rotary One. And so they change clubs. We have other people who just move in from other parts of the country and the world because we are Chicago. So we have like some former district governors from other places in the world that have joined. And then we have people who really have no clue, nothing about Rotary. It's just somebody said it would be a good idea. So we have a very diverse group in terms of who we attract as a club, which I imagine a lot of people here are in the same situation. And what we found in the last couple of years, we've done a big strategic plan. And as part of that, we did a club-wide survey. And it was very insightful because what we found is people joined for the service, whether it was community service or international service, but they stayed for the fellowship and the relationships. So it really ends up being a group of people that cares about each other. And because of that, those are the people that we end up staying. Much like you heard, my favorite Rotary moment was going to Hamburg for the international conference. I had no idea what to expect. I kept trying to get my club members. I was like, but what do we do? Like, why am I going to Germany? And they were like, oh, it's just great. There's the fellowship hall and there'll be all kinds of great things. And I'm like, yes, but what will these great things be? What's the greatness? And nobody could really articulate it to me in a way I could understand. And here was the greatness. We hung out. That's all we did. And it was incredible. So to be with a group of 20 people in a place that was foreign to us, to be doing all these events with people was really quite spectacular. And that's where I think I kind of became a lifelong Rotarian in that moment of bonding with my club members. And someday maybe we'll have another international conference. Hopefully we don't have to wait too long. But what we've also learned is that to convert people, to build those lifetime members, we have to engage more in the early years. We statistically lose a lot of people at about the 1 to 2 year mark. So a lot of people come in, they give it a try, and if they don't find their home, they're out in 2 years. And so we've really committed. One thing our current president is doing is when each member joins and is accepted, he sets up a one-to-one meeting with them. And that's been a lot because we've been having a membership drive during the pandemic where we've waived our application fee. And while we were meeting remotely, first we did no dues. And then we were like, wait, this is going on too long. We're having to pay the RI dues. We can't just say no dues. So now we've changed it to no dues for 3 months. And so that has been an excellent marketing tool to get people to check us out. But so there's been a lot of new members within the last year. And so meeting with all those people has been like a lot of work for our president. You know, our president role is almost like a full-time job, quite frankly. It's a lot of work to run a club this big. And then I'm also working right now on following up with all those new people to do the same thing and have these meetings with them to say, who have you met? Who have you been attending? So that we can bring people back into the fold. And we're really starting to be more conscious of the people who apply and maybe they appear once or twice and then suddenly you don't see them for a while. So I've been trying to work with our administrative team to find out, like, who have we not seen in a couple months? Because then I'm going to follow up with them personally to say, I haven't seen you in a while, and, you know, hopefully it's not just you and I are missing the same days, but hopefully we can connect. And so that's part of it, is really putting effort into those first 2 years, so that hopefully people will stick around and become those lifelong members that we're looking to create. Any questions on what I've said so far?
So some of your members, the lifelong members, might be having trouble, especially with the COVID and with Zoom. And what do you do with that?
So we have had just a few members who've stopped attending because, you know, either they can't see the screen and they can't manage the technology. Thankfully, those are people who already have relationships in the club. So there's kind of like a core group of people, like we talk about them in the board meetings, like, has anybody talked to so-and-so? And yes, and they're touching base. We also, our club does a lot of different events, and one of them we do is a Friday roundtable. And what that is just an informal lunch so that Rotarians can show up, and they know there might be anywhere from 3 other Rotarians to 10 every Friday. And it's at a club downtown, which is the same place that we meet at. So whenever that's been allowed, because there's been dark days where it wasn't allowed for months, but we've resumed those again recently. And that's where we're seeing those people are coming back to that. So people that we haven't seen in meetings in the last, basically since November, were the first ones to show up for their Friday roundtables. And I think that has been really a blessing for them as well. The other thing we did is at the beginning of the pandemic and a couple other times is we had all board members were assigned people, and we reached out to connect to every single member in the club. So we did this in April, then we did it in May, and then we followed up at the end of the year too, just to touch base with people, let them know that they were cared about and see if they needed. And, you know, the first time we did that, that's where we found out one of our members had COVID. And, you know, that's where suddenly we were finding out what was going on with people, because way back in the beginning, it felt like this thing out there, and it quickly became the thing in here. That's something else we did to help make sure people just at least knew that they were being thought about and cared about, even though maybe not seen.
Joe Vincent, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I have found something you said just very, very interesting, Laura. That's a lot of phone calls for board members. So if I understand correctly, all the members of the club are assigned to a board member, and their board members are reaching out to them 2 or 3 times individually every year.
That's just what we've done this year. But so in the end, our board is pretty big. One moment, buddy. Our board has 12 people on it.
Okay.
And so our club has about 175 members. So it does work out to be like more than 10 phone calls per person. And, you know, that does, like, it did turn out when you get somebody who really does want to talk, you know, I remember I talked to one member and he had left the state and was pretty sure he was never coming back. And, you know, he lost his job, and that's not a conversation you're going to rush through at all.
Yeah, sure.
So it certainly was time consuming. And I think we all saw it as a form of service, because one of the conversations we had early on is, you know, we tend to think about how we can serve others. And we really needed to first take care of ourselves. We're no good as Rotarians. If we lose all our members, what is Rotary going to be? So we felt like it was very important to take care of ourselves. And to prioritize that so that we could continue giving to others when we were ready. And we've done some great programs in the pandemic that we're very proud of, but it's been a little bit all over the place. But you're right, that was a lot of work, and our board certainly took that on.
Raise your hand if you have another question. Terry.
Hi, I have a question. Thank you for coming today. It's so interesting to hear from you. When people are going to join your club or looking for a club, why do they join your club? What is it about your club that attracts them, other than the historical perspective? I get that. What else?
Yes, we do get a lot for the historical. We're centrally located. We meet over lunch in the Loop. So we get a lot of people who work in Chicago's Loop is a big,
Right.
you know, it's just the logistics of it. You don't, you know, a mile away is a $20 round trip cab ride. So the closer, like people don't go very far sometimes. The other part is we are in a good location for us. We're in a place called the Union League Club, which is a private club. So there is that. People are really drawn to us for our speakers. I'm always completely enamored with the speakers that our program committee comes up with. I mean, we had the mayor of Chicago before she was elected, after she was elected, because she made us that promise. And we have had various politicians, CEOs of major corporations, heads of nonprofits. It's an artist, and like last week, oh, I'm going to blank on his name, and I really should know it because he's a former journalist who's written multiple books. I'm pretty sure one was a New York Times bestseller. But we get these people, and we try and be diverse too with our speakers. So I think the speakers are a big part of it, but also the international service. So with Chicago, I mean, we have people from all over the world who are members of our club. You know, we have somebody from Ecuador, somebody from Guatemala, somebody from lots of Germans. We do have a lot of Germans. We even have one person who lives in Germany, but she's still a member of our club because that's her first Rotary connection. Somebody from Lithuania. So we do tend to attract a lot of people for liking the international connection as well. And then they're very, like our service projects. We do a good job of kind of marketing how we use our funds and the types of service projects that we're involved in. So I think those are the big reasons people join.
Do you have speakers every week?
We do. We do have them every week. We've started in the last year and a half or so to do a club assembly once a quarter. So that's the only time we don't have, well, we'll still have a speaker, but it's a Rotary speaker, like it might be the district governor or somebody to talk more about Rotary, but that's where we talk about the club. But yeah, most of the time we always have a speaker. They're not usually a Rotarian. And so we get a lot of business people who also, like, I know I use it where I might, if it's somebody, like when we had the chairman of the Fed, I invited a table full of people that I knew within financing, just for my own business networking. So I know a number of people use it that way as well.
Thank you.
An interesting idea.
Yeah.
Other questions for Laura? She's going to scoot pretty soon. So what else do you want to know about Chicago Club? Mimi.
I have a question also.
Thank you.
How did
Oh, wait, we have two people at once. I promised to get to both questions. So
I called on Mimi, and then who's next? Then we'll see who's next.
Judy was next.
Thank you. Hi, Laura.
Hi.
Thank you for being here today. The question I have is, did you get your international members do you have hybrid, or how are they members?
I think it's just the benefit of being Rotary One and being in downtown Chicago, where we do have a very active business community. I mean, being such a large city, we have ambassadors from around the world. So I think we have like 25 honorary members, and those are just various diplomats. So like, and then we have done international oriented events to market to that as well. Like we did a, what did we call it? Like a passport to the world, where we had diplomats from, I think like 20 different nations come, and they just set up booths, and it was like cocktails and people could walk around and learn. But that's where we then had an influx of people apply after that. And I do also want to, sorry, go ahead, Mimi.
I was just going to say, so are they on Zoom then, or how are they connected with you?
That was pre-Zoom. Yeah. So, I mean, now it's been great too. And you all can join any of our meetings. Please feel free. We have a regular attendee from the Bahamas. We have a couple regular attendees from India. Like the Zoom has really made it even more so. But when we were meeting in person, almost every single meeting, we had a visitor from somewhere else in the world. So it's just part of being the benefit of Rotary One that we can capitalize on.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Before we go to the next question, Laura, will you email me your Zoom link for your meetings, and is it the same every week?
You can register every week, so I'll send it to you because we just
Okay.
like to keep track.
I would
of
like to share that with my
Mm-hmm.
club. That would be cool, huh? Now, somebody else had a question that started to ask at the same time that Mimi
I
did.
think that was
Yes,
Judy.
I did. I'm wondering how you promoted or
Got a question?
marketed the 3-month reprieve on membership dues.
Mostly word of mouth. I mean, it was in the gyrator. We talked about it, and board members circulated it, and then it just kind of spread. I think I'm sorry I didn't look up the numbers, but I believe we have had 25 to 30 new members in the last year. Now, we've also lost a bunch of people because of the pandemic and job changes and moving on and things like that. But ultimately, we've gained a lot more than we've lost. So now, and then there were a handful of people that signed up back when it was dues free, without any expiration date. It was just until the board decided otherwise. And then when we said, okay, now we have to start charging dues, we did lose a couple people then, which we expected, but that's okay. Because in the end, we got way more than we lost. So that is a good gain for us. The other thing I think that attracts people to our club is, while we do officially have a 50% attendance policy, we have people who don't attend at all. We have people who attend every meeting. We have people who are just basically like our good friends, like people who have retired and used to attend regularly, but they don't want to go downtown anymore, and they keep paying their dues. And so when people who are concerned about the time, or when I'm meeting with people who are prospective members, I always tell people, we want busy professionals. That's exactly who we want. So we understand if you can't make it as often as some others, you get more out of it if you come, right? We all know that. You learn a lot more, you build better friendships, but we certainly encourage people who might not be able to attend 50% to still join. And I think we do a very good job of, where we're welcoming and it's judgment free for people who don't attend. And I think that that's a good selling point too.
Joe, I saw your palm a couple times.
Yeah, a quick question for you, Laura. I'm always interested when people talk about club dues. Does your definition of club dues for your club include RI, district, local club dues, operating expenses, and lunch, and any other assessments annually?
So we just created 2 tiers and we've become more transparent. We'd always had 2 tiers, but we were not transparent about it. And that was some of the negative feedback we got in our strategic planning and survey. Yeah. So our higher tier is $160 a month. And that includes all the dues, but it also includes lunches when we attend in person. So it includes our Tuesday meetings, because we even have socials on Thursdays and the Friday roundtables, but it only includes Tuesday meetings for whatever meal that is. Then during the pandemic, what we did is any excess, we've periodically given that back to our foundation. So when we've had excess funding, it's gone back to the foundation to fund our projects. And so what we've decided to do to really encourage people to stay at that higher level is we are sitting on a bunch of Paul Harris points, and then we also have points for our own foundation. And so we're giving anybody at that higher level of membership gets 50 Paul Harris points per month and 50 Che Perry points per month. So, that also helps us build towards making everybody a Paul Harris Fellow and lots of other goals. We're trying to talk more about that because, especially for me, I know my first 2 years, people would talk about these points and what are they even saying? Yeah. So it takes a long time to get people to absorb that, but we're trying to bring that into it. Now, our other option is $83 per month. That's dues only. That does include our RI dues and our district dues. It really, at that amount, I don't know that it would be enough to actually cover our operations, but we've been lucky enough to always have a mix where we could make things work.
Okay, thank you.
So the 83 is the second tier?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, and we just call that a pay as you go, because if they want to attend lunches, they still can. They get a discount on lunches. It's like we offer like $5 member discount versus a visitor discount. But then they just pay as they go.
And you mentioned 50 Paul Harris points and 50 and something else.
That's okay. You wouldn't know it. It's Che Perry. He's one of our founding members.
Oh, okay.
So that's just who
So
we
that applies to,
for our own foundation.
yeah, okay,
Rotary
gotcha.
One Foundation versus the Rotary Foundation. Not very distinguishable.
Gotcha.
Laura, could
Very
you,
interesting.
Laura, could you give us one pre-COVID and hopefully post-COVID era tip for retaining long-term members? What's your best idea that you think could work for other clubs?
I actually, in the pre-era, I would have said a lot of it was just getting people to a meeting. Once they got to a meeting, it really did make an impression on them. Post-era, I think that, I think we're going to keep doing the hybrid. I think we've seen a lot of success with this. A lot more people who hadn't attended in a while are now attending. We've seen more positivity out of it than negativity. We all miss the in-person, but I think we're going to probably keep some component. It's just the added cost of doing hybrid meetings and technology and all the other stuff that'll be an issue. And I apologize, I do need to head out.
I know it. Laura promised
all
us
day about
15
Rotary,
minutes.
right?
Look it. We're having trouble letting you go.
And I will follow up with you with the link to the meetings, okay?
I will, and I'll email you and just touch base. And thank you so much for being here, Laura. It was really
My
fast.
pleasure. It was so nice to meet
Give her a good send off.
All
And
right.
let her go to her meeting. Bye. Oh, that was amazing, huh?
Yeah.
Oldest club. Jeez. And she has a little energy. Every board member calls like 15 people. Whew. I'm going to go back and tell my board, you know what they do at Rotary One, and they're not a small club, and they have 12 board members. I think we have 11.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing sitting on our hands?
Yeah.
Let's share some other ideas with the rest of our time at, I think, Jim, you signed in as meeting presenter on the district tab. Do you have access to the poll I set up, number 3 poll? I want to use that at the end. And you're muted.
I can see polling 1.
And I want polling 3, so there's a drop
Polling
down.
3. Whenever you
Let's
want.
go ahead and do that right now. What I want to tell you is that on May 15th, I've been asked by Paul Nicholson, the district training director, if that's the right title, to give a membership program at the club training assembly. And I want to structure it similar to this, where it's more of a forum, more of a sharing of ideas. But when I think of sharing membership best practices, that's a big topic, and we have 40 minutes or something like that. So I want to have Jim help me launch this poll and have you give me your insight and where should we focus? And if you all vote on as many as you're interested in, I'll get a clue from where the highest rankings are, how to structure that event for you so that you get the most out of it. Okay, Jim, if you'll go ahead and launch poll number
It's
2.
launched.
It's
It's
only
launched. We've already got 6 votes.
it's only allowing us to pick one thing.
Oh, well, just pick one, I guess.
Okay.
I thought I set it up for multiple choice, but maybe I hit some button wrong. I had to do it twice because I forgot to save it. Okay, well then with that, I'll let Jim share the results after a while, but you're all seeing them. I'm not seeing the poll, and it might be because I'm signed in as a presenter as well. So I'm more interested in your opinion than mine anyway. So I know what my opinion is. I don't have one.
We're at 17 of 21.
Oh, cool.
You and I,
Very-
and you and I can't vote, so we're okay.
Why don't
That's
you go
18.
ahead and share it? Wait.
And
I
I'm
wanna
not
take a
voting either.
Okay, then everybody's voted.
Okay, if you will share the results, I want to take a picture of it.
Well, okay, let's see here. Can you see it?
Yep,
Can you guys see it?
yes.
Yeah.
Can somebody take a screenshot for me and send it to me? I don't have credentials or whatever. Oh, Mimi is, thank you. Did you get a picture of it?
Somebody took a picture.
All right. And if you'll email it to me, Christine@leadersupportservice.com, I would be forever in your debt or until I forget about it.
You got it.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, let's talk about ideas. You all have long-term members. You were all interested in retention of long-term members. What's worked for you? And unmute yourself and chime in. Okay, then I'll call on somebody. Marv.
Well, we've been reaching out to all of our members, both by the board. Typically, every quarter, a board member will call 3 to 5 people. And then our membership committee does the same. In fact, we just got through calling about 25 people that have only shown up to 2 or less Zoom meetings. And so each member of our membership committee called 3 people to see how they're doing, you know, what's important to them, just for contact. And that's what we do. We're constantly involved, other people calling other people.
Same in our club, Marv. Yeah.
So Marv, or anybody that can answer this, what about your older members? How do you teach them how to use Zoom? Some of them are very intimidated by it.
Well, what we've done is we do one-on-one classes. I've had 3 people contact me. So I send them a Zoom link and then we talk on the telephone. If they have an Apple device, they can show me what's on their screen with FaceTime so I can see what they're looking at. And that seems to work. There are people that won't do Zoom at all. I just visited our oldest member last week since I've had both of my COVID shots. And he's 94 years old. And he actually wanted me to see him because he had a gift for the club. And that was a check for our charitable corporation for specific scholarships for other people. But he's very active in Rotary International for our club. So that's how he keeps involved. The other members that are all, I would call them seniors, and let's say 75 up, and I happen to be in that category. Everyone is involved in at least 2 of the activities that we do all the time. So they're very much involved. So we don't have a problem with retention of older members. Luckily, we haven't had a problem with retention in the last couple of years.
Thomas.
Call me Tom.
Okay.
We've had some success with some of our longer term members being sort of wed to certain projects. And we've been able to pull off a couple of projects even in spite of the pandemic. And so we reach out to those people who have been doing the bus jam for 20 years and give them a lead role, try to get them to recruit for engagement with newer members and just kind of leave them identified with whatever it is that that project is about. Now that we took a hit with all the projects that we had to postpone or eliminate from this year's calendar. But we're going to get back at that. And so that allegiance to a certain project seems to have some merit.
I've got a comment, but I'm not sure if I can be heard.
Yes, you can.
Okay, this is Gene Bennington from the Rotary Club of Sun River La Pine. Unfortunately, my camera's not working this morning. I don't know what's going on, but so I think we're the only club in District 5110 that's meeting in person. And we are, all of us, going to have a big decision to make somewhere down the road, and that is these Zoom meetings and what that will do to our clubs. Whether we have the hybrid model or whether it's just meetings in person and no Zoom. So for me, the sooner we're off Zoom, the better is my personal feeling. But what say you, the rest of you?
From the day we first started with Zoom, my thought was, how awesome is this? We can now get members from all over the world. And so I always envisioned it as becoming a hybrid club. And we have done that. We go back and forth based on state regulations, that because our county, Douglas County, has jumped up, so we're back in Zoom only, but we started the hybrid when people could go back to the meetings. I see it as great opportunity, and I think it's to everyone's advantage.
I guess the question, I guess, would be then, are Zoom members as committed and as effective, and you have the same retention as you do in meetings where people attend and have fellowship and show up for service projects, etc.? I guess we don't know that.
Can I make a comment there? I've been monitoring this in my clubs very closely. And one of the things that I've noticed is that club attendance is roughly 33 to 50% on average. Of those, the women in the club are much better represented in the Zoom meetings than the men. And this has been pretty consistently across clubs and across time. I noticed this particularly in I really looked at it closely on Monday or yesterday of my own home club's meeting. I'm not sure why this is. A concern that I have when we leave Zoom someday is that if we do that all together, Zoom seems to have worked out very well for so many members. So I agree with Mimi. It just seems to have been a lifeline for a lot of folks to be good about attendance. But there's some logistics involved in hybrid meetings that may be a big barrier for some clubs.
This reminds me of communication. You know, originally there was the Pony Express and writing letters, and then it was phone calls, and there's a certain age group there, and then it was emails, and there's a certain age group there, and now there's text, and there's a certain age group there. And I think as leaders in Rotary, it behooves us to communicate with people in the way they want to be communicated with. They are more responsive that way. Well, what can we learn from that and apply to Zoom meetings? Some people like the Zoom meetings. Some people just really jonesing for getting back in person. Can we do both? Can we give everyone what they want? And who benefits if we do? Rotary. So that's just an observation I've made, that I think of how we contact people. And I know in my own club, there's certain people I don't email them. They're not going to see their email. I text them, and then I get a real quick response. Who else had their hand up? I know somebody did, and I didn't mean to cut you off. Marv.
A couple of things. Going back to retention of older members, our newsletter is a big deal for the older members. Because we do 4x4s on the older members. So we talk about the older members all the time. Comment about hybrid meetings. Our board has said we will probably always be a hybrid meeting. Because of that, we've just invested $1,000 for some equipment that might make our in-person meetings more personable. We use PTEX all the time for every one of in our club. So when we have meetings or we want to get something out, you can't, go off and you're limited to, I think, about 150 words or 150 characters. So we send the PTEX out for the younger members, the emails for the other, and then there's only 2 people that won't do either or. And so that seems to work for us.
And Lee, you had your hand up. Thanks, Marv.
Yeah, one of the smartest things that the president of our club did last July was rethinking everything about our budget and everything about what we were doing. And she decided that this was the year, like any other, that the club would invest in its engagement and invest in its membership. So any ideas that came up would be delivered on. So for example, over the holidays, 30 apple pies were delivered to the front doors of members we hadn't seen in a while. And all of a sudden those members were sending messages to her like, thanks for including me. And I miss you all, right? And it turns out that they weren't really disengaged. They just had other things going on in their lives. So from her standpoint, instead of thinking, how do we use what we've been doing and why are people not engaging? She decided to throw everything out and say, look, any idea anybody brings to the table to engage members, we're going to do that. And if that affects the budget, it affects the budget. And, she actually started tapping into our reserves saying, this is the rainy day fund and we're in a rainy day. That had a big impact on me, and I've been trying to share that as much as possible, that clubs have to think differently and just if they want to keep doing what they're doing, that's great, but they have to add a task force. They have to add people that says, this is our time to invest in our engagement. So.
What club are you from?
Greater Corvallis.
But he's the assistant governor for that whole area. So, his perspective comes from wider than his club, although your club is amazing.
Yeah, and look, my comment today is only on my club.
Okay.
Specifically because, I do have a perspective of the other clubs, and it is, to watch that our club president, I twinge a lot because she's not doing anything the way that we are used to doing it. And you go, wait a minute, you're going outside of the box. And then you go, you're going outside of the box. Good.
Yeah.
So
it's a good time to get out of that darn box.
Yeah.
Dan, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, thanks, Christine. A couple of thoughts. Our club, I think, is by and large has a consensus that we want to continue with hybrid meetings once the restrictions on virtual meetings have been lifted. And I believe the plan at this point, or the directive, is to kind of stick with the virtual meetings at least through July. But we believe it's important to start planning now for how we're going to do virtual meetings. I think it's going to be really key for both retention and recruitment. It touches so many of the issues that we discussed here this morning on both. I've had some background in telehealth for the last 10 years. And based on that, my anticipation is that we're going to have 2 different types of challenges. One is to recognize that a Zoom meeting is not the same as a hybrid meeting, that the way we do Zoom is very different than what it will look like or need to look like when we do a hybrid meeting with the groups of people in the same location. Marv, I'm very impressed that you're already thinking ahead about this and you've invested in technology. I'd like to learn a little bit more about your process for determining what your technology needs is. But the other thing I guess I'd like to share is that what we've learned in telehealth a long time ago is that the technology is a challenge. We have to address it. That's actually kind of the easier part of it. It's the process. So if we're going to have quality hybrid meetings with quality engagement between people attending in person and people attending virtually, you really need to think through in detail what that's going to look like, what the processes are, walk through traditionally what the process for your standard in-person meeting has been, what the process has been for your standard virtual meeting, and then try and marry those two processes in a very, very explicit way, a very thoughtful way. So I guess my final comment is that I would really appreciate and welcome the opportunity to work with other clubs in the district to develop best practices for hybrid meetings. I don't think it's going to always be easy. So both on the technology end, but also on the process end, I'd like and would appreciate us to find some way to collaborate in a real focused way around that.
Harry.
I totally agree with Daniel, and I'm so pleased that you brought that up, because everybody, it seems to me, skirts around that issue and assumes that we know how to conduct hybrid meetings. We don't. And we may have some ideas, but we would really like, I think, an all benefit from a workshop that kind of helps us actually say, you need this equipment, you might consider this equipment, you might consider this setup or that setup. I'm telling you, this is new territory. And to assume that we all can do it is wrong. And is and personally, very discouraging to me. It's like, I get anxious about it when I think about it, because I don't even know where to start. So if we as a district, if we could get some help in that, I totally agree with Daniel. With the very practical aspects of it. I think that all of us want to do many of us want to do some hybrid meetings, because some people, they can't get away from work, or they can't get away from whatever it is at noon, but they still want to hear, they still want to engage with us. So why not offer that? I think it's a tremendous opportunity, and some speakers that you can invite from Chicago or from wherever you want to invite them. Why not be able to do that? But we just don't know how to do it. We've never done this before.
I think I'm just going to change my mind, except for I want your blessing on it. The number one result in the poll we just took was engagement. And now I'm seeing a lot of heads nodding about virtual meetings, or excuse me, hybrid meetings. Would you rather us focus at the club training assembly on hybrid meetings and get into that as much as we can in 40 minutes? I've got some good people that can help us. Marv's one of them. Corey Leparty from the up in Washington would help. What do you guys think? Wave some hands at me if you'd rather me change gears in the middle of this stream. Lots of hands. I think what we'll do then is that, thanks to Rick and to Jerry for sending me the poll. Thanks to Rick for sending it also to Paul. Now I will email Paul and say, hey, we changed our mind. But, we can do that. We need to be nimble. Rotary has to be nimble. We have to respond. Lee, you've been waving at me.
Yeah, so the one thing I'm going to highly suggest, and I can tell you my club is just doing this, is be careful about presuming that your club is all in on the hybrid. I think you're going to get people who will, but I think the most important thing any club can be doing right now is to put together a task force, whether it's a task force of 1 or it's a task force of 3, to assess the needs of the club and to build a new meeting plan around that. Because it may turn out you have 1 member who wants Zoom and you have 60 who don't. So you have to decide how many resources you put into that. But if it turns out that 1 person is the loudest, again, you have to make those decisions. But man, I can't stress enough just to get a sense of where your club is and then build a plan with a task force. And the beauty of the task force is that it's going to have a start and a finish. Like our club, we don't even know where we're meeting yet afterwards. We don't know where we're going. So I went back and I was like, guys, you got to start thinking about this. But at least have that, so you can decide, do I put all this effort into the Zoom or not? That's just my 2 cents.
I think you're right. And every club is different. So what works for my club won't work necessarily for your clubs, and vice versa. So we do need to lead with our eyes open and touch the pulse of our membership and see what they want. And I like the idea of marrying our 2 styles. Some of us, I see you, Terry, I'll call you
No problem.
Some of us are pretty well marrying our 2 styles in our Zoom meetings. So that's not too far of a stretch, but there are elements in our Zoom meetings that you know, you can't eat lunch together. And so you try to emulate some of those things. A lot of us are having trouble going, okay, where are we going to go back to lunch now? Because maybe that place isn't available. So I like the task force idea. I think that might work for a lot of us. And Terry.
Well, I was just going to say, Lee, I just sent an email to my entire club, inviting them to come to our board meeting, which we have every month, to start a discussion on logistics of meetings. I said that, you know, we have a lot of things to discuss for next year, obviously, as part of my, as PE, part of my action plan. But first, we got to start with meetings. When we're going to feel comfortable meeting in person, do you want to do hybrids? Where do you want to meet? Just like you were talking about. I think, though, I'm not too worried, although I am going to get answers from everyone, or as many people as I can. I'm not too worried about investing in hybrid, because it's not going to be just Zoom. It's going to be an alternative, and I'm hoping it will engage more members. We have a few members that actually, I was very sorry that left, who are younger, who went back to work during COVID and decided they didn't, you know, they weren't interested in just Zooming with us. But if we were to meet in person, they would come back maybe once or twice a month, or they might check in on Zoom once in a while. I just think it gives an alternative, and we are on the theme of engaging members, retaining members, attracting new members. So the more flexible we can be in our meeting logistics and make it more attractive, because one size doesn't fit all. So if we can just be a little more flexible, I think we have a better chance of engaging and retaining members and attracting new ones. That's just my thought.
I think you're right. Now we have 6 minutes left. I would like to hear from some of us that haven't been the chatterboxes of this group, who haven't had a chance to speak up. What are your thoughts? Do you think we're heading down some garden path the wrong way? Do you have another insight? Dawn, Lynn, Kim.
Dawn, you got, Dawn, you got to unmute, Dawn.
Dawn.
This isn't necessarily an insight, it's a question. Didn't we at the last membership meeting have someone who discussed this plan to provide old iPads to those people who were more intimidated by Zoom? Wasn't that the case? And they would
Somebody brought it up in the group,
which I thought was a good idea. But another thing I think that all of us probably are at times challenged by is we live in a rural area. And I do know that some of our members, regardless, do not have the broadband to be able to Zoom in. And that's an issue as well.
Anyone else? We haven't heard from Harry, Walt, Lynn. I'm picking on people.
I'm just soaking it in. So
that's legal.
Great ideas.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, looks like District Governor-elect Jerry would like to say something.
Okay, I didn't see the hand waving. Jerry, where are you?
Yeah, I had my hand up. I just want to go back to the beginning of what Laura said. I mean, in terms of people join Rotary for the service, they stay for the fellowship. I think we just need to be thoughtful about investing in technology now, because we really don't know what that's going to look like as we move forward. Maybe people will just really enjoy the ability to get back in person. Zoom will kind of fade from that. I think what we really, what we talk about is, and I really want to focus on those 4 strategic priorities of Rotary. And one is engagement, is the top of our list before, we started going off on this other direction of hybrids. It's all important. I think Don makes a good sense or a good point with respect to rural areas. The thing with Zoom meetings and even hybrid meetings, you can record them. So if you miss a meeting, that might be the important part. You can record it, and members that want to go to a meeting, they're not going to be maybe engaged with the meeting, but they at least can be with the with the content and the action that takes place in the meeting and feel continue to be a part of it. I just think that engagement, and the key part of engagement that was talked about was communication. I like the fact that her board calls everybody. I think that this is directly what Lee was talking about with the apple pies. You just communicate with people. You told them, you tell them we're still there, we're still together, and that fellowship still exists even though we're in the middle of this pandemic. So that's why I say, everything is kind of unsettled now, and I can appreciate we're all looking for solutions, but we fall back on engagement and communication with members. That's how you retain them. Find something that they can do even if they can't travel out of their home. Just engage them in some way. So communicate with them, engage them in activities. For example, our club right now is writing cards to people that are stuck in retirement homes that can't communicate or can't see people. That's a kind of a brilliant idea that people can do at home, deliver to a common spot, and still be a part of what Rotary is all about and feel a sense of fellowship with that as well.
That's so true, because people don't get handwritten notes very often anymore, and that's kind of special. Lynn?
I was just going to say, speaking of those service things that I think have really engaged our members, is we're a big part of the Lane County Public Health vaccine clinics. And we're out there helping with registration papers and that kind of stuff. And that is so meaningful. And the people who are participating are getting to know other people. And if you guys aren't able to do that in your counties, I'm sorry, because this is just an awesome opportunity.
No, you're right. We do that in Benton County too. They have volunteer opportunities. Yeah, and I've seen Rotarians down there. You wear the Rotary T-shirt or wear a Rotary hat.
Mask. The mask.
Yeah. And like I said, you have plenty of time to sit, talk to other people about it too.
Yeah, my husband just went and got his shot, and he saw Rotary at work, and I just signed up and got approved to I'll be out there with you, Lynn, before you know it. Let's hear from DG Cindy. As we wind down, we've got about 1 more minute. Do you have a word of wisdom for us, or a question or an answer?
Well, I will summarize a couple of things. Thanks, Chris. I circle back to what we heard first from Laura, that people stay for fellowship, and that it's important to get your members to bond with the club, whether they're brand new members or long-term members, that it's key. And I'd also like to circle back to something I saw in the chat that Julie Aubrey put in there. We need to be where our members are. And Lee Ackroft said it too. It's like, we need to put together teams or task force or board assignments. How should we meet in the future? Will it be different than Zoom? Will it be different than hybrid? Will it be the same it used to be? These are really great points. And let's look to the human side, and let's just keep serving our communities in relevant ways like you are. Yeah, thanks for this moment, Chris. Appreciate it.
Thank you all for coming. It's exactly 11 o'clock. Whoops, 11:01. It was 11 o'clock and 2 seconds ago. Are you just waving, Lynn, or did you have one more thing? Okay, she's just saying goodbye. Well, thank you guys. Next month, we'll have another fabulous who knows what forum with who knows what facilitating us. But I look forward to seeing you all again, because I get there's such good discussion out of this group. I really appreciate you coming. So
thank you. This was a great meeting.
Yay.
Yeah, good job, Chris. Thanks.
You bet. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And I